Fertile Crescent, Assyrian and Neo-Babylonian art. The birth of Babylonia is often considered to have begun with the reign of Hammurabi, even though he was actually the sixth king of his dynasty. Hammurabi is principally known for his codification of Babylonian laws, which may not have been his own creation, but a continuation of older law systems. During Hammurabi's reign, Babylonia's artistic contributions were, for the most part, literary. Upon Hammurabi's death, in 1750 BCE, another period of warfare followed. Once again, the region plunged into a period of turmoil while the various city-states battled each other for supremacy. Around 900 BCE, a new power, the Assyrians, sprang up in the north. The ancient Assyrians are most famous for their use of relief sculpture in the decoration of public buildings and palaces. Scenes of hunting and warfare were among the most common themes. Figures tend to be stylized and unrepresentative of individual people. Babylon broke away from Assyria under the leadership of the Chaldean Nabopolassar, the first king of Neo-Babylonia. Upon his death, 21 years later, leadership passed to his more famous son, Nebuchadnezzar. Although Nabopolassar undertook the rebuilding of Babylonia, it was his son, Nebuchadnezzar, 605 to 562 BCE, who brought Babylon to her full glory. It was the largest and most beautiful city in the Middle East, with its renowned hanging gardens and massive city walls. The Hanging Gardens were considered to have been one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Unfortunately, all of the structures built during this time period were made from clay bricks. Natural erosion caused by wind and rain has worn away most of the smaller buildings and left very few of the larger ones. Regrettably, the ruins of Babylon have also long served as a quarry for building materials. One of Babylon's noteworthy claims to fame was the construction of the Tower of Babel, a ziggurat dedicated to the god Marduk. However, it has been completely destroyed over the centuries. The most famous surviving architectural feature within the ancient city of Babylon is the Ishtar Gate. This beautiful gate was once the portal through which thousands of merchants, travelers, and soldiers passed on their daily journey into and out of the city. Originally, the gate was covered with brilliant blue enameled tiles and glazed brick bas-relief images of dragons, lions, and young bulls. These are pictures of the reconstructed Gate of Ishtar as archaeologists believed it appeared. The faces of the bricks were covered in faience, a form of ceramic glazing that is applied to the bricks using heat to seal them together. Ishtar Gate inscription. On the north side of the city of Babylon, an ornate gate dedicated to the goddess Ishtar was created. Detailed with lapis lazuli stones and images of lions, bulls, and dragons, the gate served as a reminder of the power and ability of the king and of the city. Along the gate was an inscription that dedicated the gate and testified to the power and dedication of the ruler. The inscription, summarized, states that King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon constructed the gate to demonstrate how much he cared about the city. Serving as a resume for the king, the inscription testifies to the fact that he is humble, faithful, justifiably appointed to rule the land, has great wisdom, and respects the divine. The inscription states that both gate entrances have been raised to the height of the water table to better protect the city. The decorative detail of bulls and dragons is further embellished by the gate being topped with great cedars to cover the roof. The bulls adorning the bronze doors were put in place to create great wonder and awe in all who saw them. The goal was to create an area where the gods could be celebrated in a protected and secure environment. Ancient Persian art and architecture. When the Babylonian Empire began to crumble, a new group of people appeared on the eastern borders of the civilized world. These people were the Persians. They conquered Babylon in 539 BCE and remained in power until their defeat by Alexander the Great in 331 BCE. While it was in power, the Persian Empire ruled many other empires, including those of Mesopotamia, Egypt, Syria, and some parts of Asia Minor and India. Around 520 BCE, Darius I took over the throne of Persia. He did many great things for the Persian Empire, including making Persepolis the ceremonial capital of the Achaemenid Empire. Later kings continued to develop Persepolis, located in modern-day Iran, though most of the credit was given to Darius I. It contained many great palaces, monuments, and temples. The Persians are best known for their large and elaborate palaces, and the most famous example is at Persepolis. This palace was built on a man-made terrace of stone. The solid wood ceilings were supported by massive stone columns. Elaborate carvings decorated the tops of these columns and the surfaces of many of the buildings. Unfortunately, the only pieces in Persepolis to survive the invasion by Alexander the Great were the columns, stairways, and door jambs of this great palace. Ancient Persia has played an important role in history. Dating back to before the Neolithic period, the first communities in ancient Persia domesticated animals and planted crops such as wheat and barley. The most distinctive contribution of the Persians was their hand-painted pottery. Pottery has been the most abundant artifact found in many ancient Persian archaeological sites. Pottery is one of Persia's earliest art forms, and it was most probably used for ornamental purposes. This pottery was painted with simple geometric, floral, and animal motifs, which still characterize the Persian style. The lotus bloom is a common feature on Persian pottery, known as the U2L4 in the Farsi language. It symbolizes life in many Middle Eastern cultures. Persian artisans eventually began glazing their pottery, and beginning in the 9th century, became famous for their colorful blue and green glazed pots. In the 1200s, Persian pottery reached its pinnacle with vessels made of more durable materials and glazed in a rainbow of new colors. While the majority of the Fertile Crescent cultures and civilizations seem to have been centered in the area surrounding the Tigris and Euphrates river valleys, it is important to note that there were several other cultures in the region at the time. One of the most successful of these civilizations was that of the Phoenicians, a seafaring people located along the modern coast of Lebanon. The Phoenicians were famous sailors, and many archaeologists credit them with sailing around the entire coast of Africa and possibly navigating one of their primitive ships to the shores of the North American continent as well. They were also renowned artisans. Phoenician art, particularly glassware, was among the most sought after in the ancient world. The Phoenicians fabricated glass jars using lost wax, core forming, and mouth-blowing techniques. Notice the craftsmanship and attention to detail in these two examples on display at the British Museum. The glass jar, dated 750 BCE and discovered in Assyria, was cast into a perfectly symmetrical, three-dimensional shape. Quite an accomplishment, considering this was done entirely by hand. Study the workmanship involved in creating the second example. A glass amphorikos, or vessel, found at a Phoenician tomb. The non-symmetrical and organic shape of this small vessel suggests a fig or similar fruit. The decorative stripes are colored threads of glass that were wrapped around the vessel while it was still hot and molten.